Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're doing another Sleep Number bed review. It's been a long time since we've been sleeping in this bed now, so I think we can give you a little bit better information than we did the last time where we only slept in the bed once. So we're gonna go ahead and give you the quick version for those of you who only have 30 seconds to spare, and then we'll get into more of the details for those of you who are really interested. So executive summary, Stacy, do you wanna go first?
Sure. I absolutely love this bed. I am 17 weeks pregnant, which is the original reason we decided to buy this bed. It is a bit of a splurge, but that was a great excuse. And I have been so appreciative to have this to sleep on, especially now that I'm uncomfortable during the night. This bed allows me to shift positions. I can also adjust the firmness of the bed, which really helps me get comfortable at night. So I've absolutely loved it. What about you?
I have to say that I agree with Stacy on this. I do not regret this purchase at all. There's absolutely no buyer's remorse here. That's not to say there aren't some negative things, which we'll get to, but overall, we're very happy with this purchase. It's by far the most comfortable bed I've ever slept in, and that includes a variety of different hotels that we've slept in over the years.
It's actually kind of funny because we found out about this bed staying at a hotel in Philadelphia at the Radisson. It was the first time we had ever seen a Sleep Number bed in person, and we both talked about it, and this was several years ago, and ever since then we would always say, oh, we should get one of those Sleep Number beds. But it is a hefty price tag, so it does take quite a bit of an investment, but I think it's totally worth it. I think the bed is going to last us for a really long time. I don't see any signs of wear and tear as of yet, and so I'm really excited about our purchase.
So that was the quick version. Now let's get into the details. We definitely like this bed and we say how great it is, but let's also talk about the downsides to this bed. By far the biggest downside there is, and that's something I think both Stacy and I agree on, is this thing, the remote control. Not only is it very expensive for the very simple functionality it provides, it doesn't really work a lot of the time. For no reason at all, it just stops raising it even though I'm very clearly pressing the button down. I don't know if it loses the connection or if the button is just so cheap that it doesn't really make contact even though I'm pressing down. But whatever the reason is, it can be very annoying. And I tested this with the other remote as well, so it's not just that we got a bad model. This is just the way the bed works. The other thing is that the button is so difficult to press, like there's an indentation on the button. Here, let me show you. And when you press down, you do get a little clicking sensation, so you get a little bit of feedback, but it's very subtle, and sometimes even though it's still clicked down, like I said, it loses the connection. So the remote is the main problem that we both have with the bed.
The remote is extremely difficult to use, and I knew this within the first day or two of using the bed. I could sense that it was going to be a problem. So I do use a wheelchair. I do have issues with dexterity. And so when I think about a product, I not only have to think about the typical concerns, but I also have to think about some additional concerns that I may have. So for people with disabilities, this remote is extremely challenging to use. I have to sit up, turn on the light, focus on pressing the button. The buttons do not stick up in the air as they do with many other remotes that I use, like our TV remote. And so those buttons tend to be easy to find. You can feel a little bit of feedback when you press them down and know that you're pressing them. With these buttons, I do not get any feedback, and so I really have to focus to make sure that I'm actually pushing the button down all the way to make the item work. And then on top of that, as he said, it doesn't always work. So I'm having to press and then press again. And so it can be a little bit frustrating. Eric ends up controlling the bed for me in a lot of the situations. Now, to remedy this, what would I want to see? I would want to see an iPhone app. And so I'm not sure why there isn't one yet. The guy at the store actually said that there was an iPhone app, but when I downloaded it, it just controls Sleep IQ. It does not control the bed. And so I haven't seen another iPhone app out there that could help do this. That would be ideal. Even better though would be voice control for the bed. So we do have an Alexa in our house, and it's wonderful. You know, you can ask Alexa what time it is. You can have Alexa control your lights. And so it would be great if I could just say, hey Alexa, set my sleep number to 25, and that would actually happen. This would be a huge upgrade for this bed, and I highly recommend it. Sleep Number people, if you're listening, please make this happen. It would be phenomenal.
As I mentioned, we felt like we want to say the positive and the negative. Overall, this is still a very comfortable bed. Very happy with the purchase.
One thing that we did want to mention is that when we were researching Sleep Number beds, we did see several other Sleep Number users talking about some disappointment they had with what was inside the bed. So I guess they saw an egg crate and then they saw an air mattress, and they thought for a premium product this was cheap materials, and that seemed to be one of the biggest complaints that people had. So we haven't really had that complaint. We thought the bed was incredibly comfortable. Eric, what do you think?
You have to really research what type of bed you want, right? There are different types of Sleep Number beds. We got one of the most popular ones, and it does have more than just an egg crate and an air mattress. Personally, this is still the best bed I've ever had. It's by far the most comfortable bed I've ever slept in. I just care that it's comfortable, and there's a bed on the market that is this comfortable, I'm gonna want to get it. It's still the most comfortable bed we've ever owned. It's still the most comfortable bed we've ever slept in. We tried many different beds out there. We slept on expensive beds, cheap beds, beds that had very different types of material inside. At the end of the day, what you care about is comfort, and this is still the most comfortable bed. I mean, I don't know what type of materials go into it. I've looked at the diagrams and everything, but I'm taking a very unbiased view of this. I'm saying, okay, I'm trying a lot of different beds. We shopped around a lot. We said, we're gonna get the most comfortable bed there is. I'm not really qualified to say this particular material is inexpensive or is cheap or is no good. All I can say is how I feel when I sleep on it. And this is by far the most comfortable bed I've ever slept in. And I would think that would be the only consideration to have. I would encourage people to go with what they like in terms of comfort more than materials, because materials can be misleading. There can be materials that look cheap but are expensive, and some that look expensive but are actually really cheap. So don't go by what's inside the bed, just go for what you enjoy. Go for what's comfortable. And I find myself raising the bottom a lot more than I thought I would. I raise the top to watch movies and to watch TV sometimes when we're together, but at night when I'm sleeping, for whatever reason, it feels really comfortable to raise the bottom and lay on your side. It's kind of like a passive stretch. It's not the type of thing that would ever be possible with a bed that doesn't move in this manner.
And I agree with that. I've had a great experience with being able to lift the top and the bottom. As far as circulation goes, being able to lift your legs and keep it in that position for a period of time is great for your health, even for the average user, but especially for the user with disabilities. So for that purpose alone, I highly recommend this bed for someone who maybe does keep their legs in a certain position throughout the day. Say you're using a wheelchair or you just don't walk around a lot. It's great to really get that blood flowing and have those legs elevated, and can really help with health in the long term. So I love it for that reason as well.
Now let's talk about the Sleep Number. How often do we really change it? Does it make sense to get a Sleep Number bed if you're only going to have it on one number most of the time? How does that really work? Well, the reality is that I'm always messing with the Sleep Number. I don't really go below 50 because I like a firm mattress, but sometimes I'm in the mood for a 70, sometimes I like 90, sometimes even 100. When I'm reading, for example, I kind of like to sink in a little because I'm on my side and I read on my phone or a Kindle. So it's kind of nice that my shoulder digs into the bed a little bit and I could be really even with whatever I'm holding in my hand. On the other hand, sometimes if I have a little back pain, I kind of want like a more firm surface. I'll change it all the way to 100. So I will say that I'm making really great use of the Sleep Number functionality. Stacy?
I also adjust mine a lot, and a lot of this has to do, I think, with pregnancy. Typically, I do like very soft beds, but I do notice that if I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable, if my belly, for example, is feeling a bit heavy, I now move the bed to a much higher Sleep Number, and it does provide a lot more support throughout the night. So that's been really great, and I think that it does depend also on the mood that you're in. So sometimes I like to kind of feel like I'm hugged by the bed, and other times I just want a little bit more stability so that I can get a good night's sleep.
Sometimes I'll come into bed a little earlier than I normally would just to use my laptop in that position, and I end up falling asleep sooner than I normally would, so it's improving my sleep in that way as well.
So I think Eric's getting at something that is very useful for husbands and wives. So I always feel like in every relationship, there's one person who loves to go to bed earlier than the other. There's one person that loves to stay up really late. I I'm definitely the one who likes to go to bed earlier. Eric is a night owl. He could stay up all night reading and doing various things. But I have noticed that since we got this bed, he is much more willing to go ahead to bed, to do the reading in the bed. He feels very comfortable, and then he tends to get sleepy a lot faster. So for that reason alone, I would say if you debate over bedtimes, when to go to sleep, that type of thing, this bed is totally worth your purchase. If you're new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button. We do a lot of other types of videos on this channel, and we'd love to have you join our community. Also, if you love this video, hit the like button. Alright guys, that's it for today. See you next time. Bye!
Bye!